Hey everyone, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the Jazwares and Wicked Cool Toys Halo, the Spartan Collection Emile figure. So, I started reviewing some of these figures back in the fall of 2020 when the series first came out. I think it was a pretty good start to this new line. Master Chief is definitely, if you ask me, the best that they have made so far. The rest of the series, which I have Kat by now, actually, I did not get to review her, but she's alright. The rest of the figures were kind of mediocre. I'm hoping that they can make improvements over time, and I'm really hoping that this figure here is done well. Again, hopefully it keeps improving and we don't just get Spartans. Hopefully we'll get some Covenant eventually, but also I hope that they complete the Reach team, because that's my personal favorite out of the Bungie Halos. I still have a lot of fond memories of that game. But anyway, enough of me talking about it. Let's go ahead and talk about the packaging. It's very standard with this line of figures. Top left has the character's name. It says with accessories, figure in the box, as well as the backdrop there. It does say the Spartan Collection there on the left side. It does say Halo, ages 8 and up, and 1 set right there. When you look on the top of the packaging, it just says UNSC embossed right there. Then you have an actual image of the figure right there and the character's name. And it does have the UNSC logo towards the bottom there. There's nothing really much on this side, but did want to show off, it does have engraved on the plastic UNSC. On the back, it does say Halo, the Spartan Collection, Emile, and that comes with, all the stuff that comes with it is listed there, and the figure actually right there is an image of the figure. The rest of the series, which they re-released, Master Chief, I don't know if they made any improvements. Get the rest of the series. The next one I want to try to get is Jerome. And you can see that ugly sticker from Gamestop right there. But there's the actual barcode right there in case you need it. And it has a bunch of different company logos that are being covered by the sticker. And there's nothing on this bottom. I just want to show it off just to give you guys an idea. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. So after taking this figure out of the packaging, I gotta say, it's a pretty decent figure. It's not spectacular. There are definitely some kinks that need to be ironed out with this line. But there are some pretty good things about this figure. So let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. Then we'll take a closer look at the figure. So he comes with a shotgun, which has just variations of gray. It's just a two-tone here. There's not much going on with the paint. At least there is some paint. And I think the sculpting is actually pretty decent. On the stock there where the trigger is, this underbarrel part here, I don't know exactly what it's supposed to be called with the pump right there. With the rail system also came through pretty nice, actually. And yeah, I don't see any paint splotching on here, so I think that's pretty awesome. Now, with this line, they have this system for some. I'm pretty sure with all these figures, this piece will pop out and it's hidden to where it doesn't look like it's sticking out, but you can flip it around, which that's giving me trouble. So what I'm going to do instead, there's a hole on here. It's going to be a little difficult to insert, but there was a hole in a little piece right there. Just insert it like so, and it's not the greatest system, but it's cool that you can flip it around to make it look seamless, so there's not a big peg hole sticking out like some of the McFarlane toy stuff or the Mattel stuff either. So that fits on there rather nicely. We do have the kukri, this nice kukri knife right there, which I'm trying to focus up. It is pretty nice. It's a very soft plastic, just a heads up. And it's just most of the paint is actually going to be in the handle right there. You got the figure right there actually set down, and this blade is actually, I believe it's molded like this, but it actually looks really nice. There's not much paint detail going on there, but the type of plastic that's being used, it actually looks pretty good. I was having some difficulty focusing there. And this holster right here for the kukri is very soft. There is potential that you could break this blade, so just be careful. But simply just shimmy it in, which I'm trying to shimmy it in just as best I could, but insert like so. And I kind of did that off camera, I do apologize. But it'll fit in there rather nicely. So we have a bunch of different hands too. We do have, sorry, there's construction outside if you hear that. Open palm hands right there with a little bit of paint on the back of the hands, and that's what the inside of the hands look like there. Pretty nice detail on the knuckles. Every pair of hands, including the ones that he comes packaged with, are going to be similarly detailed and sculpted. That's what the pegs look like, how that system works. We do have a pair of fists, so that's cool. Looking really nice and clenched. Drop that one. And we have this posing hand with the 2 fingers sticking out. So pretty good amount of stuff that we get. taking a look at this figure's head sculpt, it is very nice. I do think that the paint is actually really well done. I did a really good job with some of the, it's like a wash. You see where the yellow is on the visor? It used to be there. The silver paint is very, very good. And the sculpting overall, like that is how Emile's head looked in the game. That is just spectacular. The rest of the details, like around here on the chin, pretty nice. They have a little bit of like a silver dry brushing going on. The sculpting overall is pretty good. Even on the top of the head, I think the sculpting is very solid. There's a little bit of weird hair sticking out. I don't know what's going on there. But the sculpting on this little attachment piece could be a little bit better. It's not god-awful, though. Overall, man, that is very good sculpting and detailing. The rest of the figure could be better. I think it's not super spectacular with, whatever's going on here. Those are grenades, right? Well, these are grenades, and then I don't remember what's supposed to be here on the bandolier. But it could be a little bit better. I think they attempted a bit of a wash. Not too bad. Sculpting is good enough. Some of the sculpting looks a little soft in some areas, though. What I mean is that it doesn't look too detailed. The gray here on his arm doesn't look that great, but the shotgun shells, I think, are painted and sculpted quite nicely. Same thing with this shoulder pad. It looks really good. The kukri holster, though, could be a little bit better, but I'm not going to knock it too much. It doesn't look terrible. So that's what the back looks like. The arm there. I didn't really show off the actual back. You guys can really see a lot. I'm pretty zoomed in. And for some reason, this won't stay back in. It's going to give me... Actually, it's not... You really got to just make sure you can push it on just a little bit. This will actually... Mine on my figure will pop out a little too easily. So just be wary of that. By the way, we do have one right here. I believe in the 2-shot review I did the Mark 7 and Mark 5. Those are glued. These would be glued on there. Master Chiefs, Cats, and Emiles are pretty easily, removable and switchable. So you can put like a pistol right there. So I'm gonna take that off camera real quick and put it back on for you. Overall, it's there's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with this figure. But again, I'm still looking at some of the details. Some of the paint looks okay with the this little greenish whatever's going on here on the armor. The overall sculpting, again, pretty solid. This looks soft in here where the butterfly joint's supposed to be, but that's okay. They're trying to accommodate for the articulation there. So some of the sculpting could be a little bit better, or like around here, around the back, on the butt and whatnot. This looks really good with this shoulder piece. This gauntlet, a little soft, not horrible. If you put some paint in there, I think it'd actually bring out the details a little bit better. Now, we don't have trigger fingers sculpted actually on these hands, which is kind of bizarre. If you have an X-Acto knife, you could hopefully carefully fix that problem. But that's just a little bizarre that some figures we've gotten so far mostly have trigger fingers, but this one doesn't really have that. These grenades look good. They look pretty solid on the front. Now we get to, I actually want to say, I think this might be dangerous. So I want to say that I did not break anything off its side, so that's good. There's a little bit of chipping going on, though, on that joint. I want to say that some of these parts, like this part of the torso, is maybe reused from maybe the Mark 5. It would make sense that those are Halo Reach characters and whatnot. I wouldn't hit on it too much. The armor can be reused. But, which we'll talk about in a second, the articulation is very hindered, not only by the sculpting of some of this stuff, but mostly the actual sculpting of the body. Pretty decent paint with the red there. Which this breaks that up on the leg. There's actually some nice, it looks like there's dirt where you see some variation in the color from the gray going into the beigeish gray. I don't really know what color this would be. It's a very light gray with some other color mixed in there. But this patch looks pretty good too. Knee pads, I want to say, are also reused from maybe the Mark 5, which I wouldn't hate on either. And maybe the legs too. It's almost the entire leg, maybe not the entire leg, but getting pretty close to the calves and whatnot. That's what these look like. Those are bent down pretty well. I don't really like this serial printing right there. Master Chief also has some on the back of his leg, and it's kind of ugly. And that's what the back of the joints look like. There's not much detail in the sculpting there. I believe these are on ratchets. It's mostly you can get the ratchet from with like inside the joint where it's being just completely covered by the articulation. But you do have some attempts of silver dry brushing on the feet here. So that's not too bad. Overall, I'll do a quick 360 because I'm not gonna do articulation yet because the battery's about to die. Again, I need to get a 360 stand, a rotating motorized stand. This thing though has some parts of the detail which aren't amazing, but overall it looks really good. Now in actuality, there's about as much articulation in this figure as there would be for like a Star Wars The Black Series or Marvel Legends figure, but the sculpting of some parts gets in the way of that. Let's go over the head first, which the head can go down that far. The head can go up pretty okay, and the side to side is actually really good. I don't believe it's on a ball joint, kind of like how this figure, you can do a little bit of more of a tilt on here. The head articulation here is a little weird, but this is more of a traditional type of articulation we got going on here. There should be butterfly joint, but it's very stiff on both sides, and it feels like the arm joints are a little weak, so I'm not going to force it. Arms can go all the way around. They go in and out that far. That restricts it a little bit. That can go actually pretty far. We do have an upper arm swivel right here, which is a little stiff on mine. That's about the range of motion in the double joint elbow, which could be a little bit better, but not terrible. All hands hinge forward, back, and side to side. I do wish that with the ones that are holding the gun, it could actually, go up and down. Actually, that would help. Now the swivel is very stiff because of the way that the torso is sculpted, so it should be able to swivel and go forward, back, a little bit side to side, but there's just not much range of motion. Legs go out that far. Be careful when you're moving the legs. This already chipped when I went up like that, so just be careful. But that's about as far kick as you can get. That's pretty good. There is no back because the butt sculpt is getting in the way. In and out, that's about as far. Upper thigh swivel is a little hindered. We do get double joint knees, which it's very stiff. That's about how you as much as you can get, which is not too bad. Knees look a little weird when bent though. We do have I'm not gonna be able to bend this back right now. So up and down for the foot. You know what? Let me just try it. There we go. That's as far down as it goes, and it goes actually pretty okay with the up. We do have ankle rocker and a toe hinge, so pretty good articulation. But again, at least mostly in the torso and maybe a little bit in the arms, there's some hindrance going on there. So for size comparisons, on the left we have Cat, and on the right we have Master Chief from the same series. I believe the sizes are supposed to be accurate. I think Chief's supposed to be a little bit taller than the rest of the Noble team. And then on the left we have a Marvel Legends MCU Shang-Chi, which is definitely going to be a little bit shorter than this guy here. But then on the right there we have the NECA T800 PlayStation Assault figure, which is a standard size NECA figure, and those are going to be a little bit taller. So overall, like I said, it's a pretty decent figure. It's not incredible though. It's got its problems. It's mostly that it's hindered. Some of the sculpt, it can't really help it. The articulation gets hindered by the sculpt. Some of the actual sculpting, again, I just don't think is as detailed as other parts. I think the head sculpt though is really, really well done in other parts of the figure, like the gauntlet and the shoulder pad on the right. And also on the left, it's pretty good in some areas, like on the lower arms and lower legs, just isn't amazing. Paint is kind of the same thing. Some parts isn't amazing, some parts it's actually really awesome. Again, like on the head sculpt, surprisingly, even though it's hindered in the arms a little bit, not a lot, you can get it into some good two-handed poses, but it's just kind of weird that it doesn't have a dedicated trigger finger for the actual figure. But you do get a good amount of accessories, so you could do this, different poses with this figure, which is nice. And I think he comes with pretty much everything he needed, and it's a pretty decent figure, like I keep saying. It's just not spectacular. It's about 20 bucks, which might be a little bit steep for a figure of this quality. Again, I'm hoping that they improve over time, but right now, I really think the only great one that you really need to have in your collection is Master Chief, unless you're like me and you really like Noble Team and Halo Reach. That's pretty much it for this review. Thanks for watching. I got mine at Gamestop for about 20 bucks, so that's pretty much the only place I've been able to find it so far, maybe Target. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I will see you guys later.